Call the meeting, excuse me, call the meeting to order at 7:03. Laura, you have to leave, right? Frozen.
She's frozen. She leaves at 8 o'clock.
All right, so what do we get? What was resolved about the minutes?
We didn't decide. We were gonna decide right when we got here. Does someone else want to take the minutes? So it seems easier if someone else just takes the minutes because Laura will have to leave.
Oh,
She may have already left. Oh, here she comes.
Sorry, this has been my day. Sorry about that. Yes, I have to leave at 8. I will take the minutes up until then, and I can either watch the recording afterwards, or if someone wants to take the minutes and send them to me, I'll add them and submit them to Catherine. Either is.
all right.
Okay.
Laura, do you mind watching the recording just so?
Not at all.
All right, I think it would probably be easier than you trying to interpret somebody else's minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I just figured I'd make the option.
And maybe we'll be done by 8.
Yeah, it's good to have a
Yeah,
goal.
it's a fairly
It's good
short
to have a
agenda.
Yeah, it's a pretty short agenda, yeah.
Let's, depends how long-winded you guys are. All right, so the meeting's called to order. First order of business is accepting the secretary's report. I got a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Somebody second it?
Seconded.
All right, seconded by Amy. So any discussion? They're very thorough, by the way. I appreciate,
Mhm.
they are very thorough. I appreciate you do so much better than I do or would do.
Jeff set the bar really high, so I'm just following his lead.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true. All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor accepting the secretary's report? It's a roll call. Chris,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
And Laura.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the monthly staff reports. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Who seconded it?
Amy?
Amy. Okay, thanks, Amy. All right. So further discussion on the staff reports. Excuse me. I actually on excuse me, Catherine, what was the alarm that went off? I read that.
It's like motion detector, the security alarm.
Security, not fire.
It's not fire, no.
Alright.
The fire one briefly had a problem and it was in a report. And that was external. It was a Verizon line. And the fire department kept their eye on the building all night that time. But this is the security alarm and it's been fixed.
Okay, great. I was concerned it was a fire alarm and then I saw
No.
that you were replacing hardware, which would not be a very cheap replacement.
Oh, no. If it was fire, we'd call a meeting for that. No, this was a relatively easy fix.
Okay, great.
I noticed that in Jackie's part of are we discussing the staff reports now, or do we have?
Yeah, no, we're discussing staff reports.
There was a note in there about streamlining the staff reports, like a template, and I noticed more consistency across them. That did make it like a little easier to kind of read. Not that they're not easy to read anyways, but it was nice having that kind of similar format. So thank you for doing that.
Okay, I also noticed just instead of the question of the month, we're gonna get this month from the reference desk. So some in the same vein, except it's just not a question.
Right.
So that's great. A nice tradition to continue, I think. Besides, I always like reading them.
It's useful.
So BBCon had 245 people, is that right?
Yeah,
That's a big success. It's a lot more people than that first year.
yeah, they did really well. Very successful. They have to keep doing it now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How
My,
did you handle
Catherine.
245 people?
Yeah, Catherine, my son, next time we went to the library, he was like, so where do I go get my badges this time? And I was like, that once a year, kid, you get badges once a year. So
Yeah, you have to keep doing it because that's Wakefield. If you do things once, it's a tradition. So we have to go with it, correct? Yeah.
Yes, you volunteer once, it's forever, right? Is
Over.
that it?
One successful event puts you in for a lifetime.
Yeah, I also a comment on the pumpkin display was I've been to them before. Maybe I didn't pay attention as much, but those things are incredible.
They
Some of
are.
the sculptors, some of the way those things are carved, I couldn't believe it, the detail in them.
That's fun. I always go to look.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
talented.
Yeah, I don't know how long they spend on those things, but they can't be long because things would rot. So,
Yeah, I think she plans it the month before. It's a new teacher this year. Is it Megan McKenna? Ms. McKenna.
Meg McKenna.
Is it Meg McKenna? She took over for Joy Schilling, who retired. And another event where she had big shoes to fill because it had always happened. So she had to keep it going, but it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really well.
When I was down there, it was probably, I don't know, it was well attended. There was a lot of people there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I know my daughter took my granddaughter there, like probably at the very beginning, and she said the place was packed.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's very nice.
Yeah.
So
anything else, folks?
Catherine or Jackie, maybe at the end of that event, do the pumpkins, I know that, people take a bunch of them, but do they get composted or do they just get thrown in the dumpster at the end?
This year, I don't think that there were any left. I think everybody took their pumpkins back or raffled them or something. But in prior years, when they were left over, the DPW takes them to the pit, I believe. It's the DPW who takes them, so I'm assuming they're recycled.
Okay. Okay, anything else? If not, we're ready for a vote. Okay, Chris, staff reports. Adam?
Yeah.
Adam?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Laura?
Aye.
Okay. So next on the agenda is just the committee reports. There is public participation. Julie's here with us.
Yeah, we don't seem to have our student liaisons today.
No, and actually I thought there was gonna be two of them, but
Yeah. Madeline had mentioned there'd be another one joining her this time, but
Is that through the youth council or is that somebody else?
It's the youth council.
Oh, good.
I've been in touch with Madeline, so I'll just send her something quick tomorrow. Keep her up to
Okay.
date. She got a packet.
Yeah.
nice.
okay.
I don't have anything to add, I'm just, as I said, I'm the liaison to the trustees and
All right.
anything that you need from me, you can always reach out to me and periodically we do reports. So I'm just sitting in today.
Okay,
Good. We know where to find you.
You do know how to find me.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, and there was one correspondence. there was a handwritten note about the searching out a book and some resources. That was actually part of the reference of the question or whatever from the desk of the reference. I'm sorry. So that was nice. Looks like they went above and beyond to get them some information. That was nice.
Yeah.
So we got committee reports. Anything on our current budget? Well, if people weren't there, just, I'm sure you all know the town meeting passed the funding for this current fiscal year to do the Sunday hours beginning in January. So if you weren't aware of it, it went very smoothly at town meeting. There was, as far as I know, there weren't any questions, were there? No.
I don't recall any.
Yeah.
No.
So that is an addition to this year's fiscal budget of $30,000. And the other item, the other warrant article also passed regarding the funding the contract for this current fiscal year. So dating back to July 1 and going forward. Actually, just as a curious, Catherine, is that retro pay been processed yet?
Jackie puts it through in the next payroll.
Okay, great.
So it's before the end of the year, but I'm assuming before Christmas.
Okay, that,
It'll be soon.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't have anything to report from buildings and grounds right now.
Tim, do you think there's any shot of having the marquee? To
Yes.
use for the Blossoms era and some of those sponsorship stuff?
You know what? That would be a great goal, wouldn't it?
I think it should be.
Um,
I mean, I'm happy to play if there's other things we can
no, let me
do to
let me see
facilitate
if that, let's see if we can make that happen. That would be really good if we could make that happen for the Blossoms. What's the date of Blossoms?
April 30th.
Blossoms, April 30th. Okay.
It's a centennial jubilee. Is that right, Catherine? Is that what we
It
decided?
is. It is. The
A
building, the building was, the cornerstone is 1922. So next year will be 100 years of BB Library on Main Street. So
Oh, wow.
Blossoms will be the centennial celebration.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great. Is that going to be the theme?
yeah,
Great. So everybody that's 100 years old can come?
exactly.
If you're 100, you get in for free.
Yeah.
More important, the color is purple. I'm just saying.
Like purple.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's, all right. Yeah, Chris, that's an excellent goal, deadline goal. Let's see what I can do about it. All right,
Well, again, I'm happy to help if there's anything comes up.
I will. I'll reach out. We have a report from friends.
I was supposed to go and Jeff took my place. I was out of town.
Yep, I attended as the alternate. I stepped in. It was kind of a disjointed meeting. They had a tough time drumming up quorum for votes, so they kind of hunted and pecked around any issue that needed voting. But they talked a lot about refreshing their branding along with the website, with the possibility of maybe redoing the logo. It's been, I think they said 20 years since they touched the logo, so maybe time for a refresh there. Maybe not. They're going to look into it. They discussed membership drives as always. Some of the various mailings that went out, and there's some timing issues with getting stuff to Gas and Light to get the insert in with that mailing. so they haven't seen the bump. They usually see this around this time of year, but they're optimistic that they still will see it. The newsletter just went out. They're already planning the next one, and they discussed moving the monthly Friends meeting to the second week of the month. It would require a change to their bylaws, but they're looking into it to try and alleviate some of the pressure they're seeing on getting a quorum. And that's what I had from them.
All right, thank you. Does anybody know how that book sale went? The one that was held at the Hurd School?
The bag sale, I didn't hear.
Okay. Just curious.
They didn't have numbers that they rolled out at the meeting, which was just last week though. But they said it was successful, and they're already talking about turning around and getting ready to start collecting books again for the book sale in the spring. They did say they're going to stick to a no CDs, no DVDs, Blu-rays policy. They just don't move individually. They move in the bag sale, but that's it. And if they keep including them in the bag sale, then all of the big vendors who come in are just gonna wait for the bag sale. So it just means they're just gonna be sitting on all of this stuff all year. So they're just not gonna do it.
Okay. Okay. We could talk about gift funds, but I think we'll be talking a little bit about them with the later on the agenda.
Right.
But the other thing that caught my eye was we got a gift of $104,000. Am I right about that? I read that right?
You are absolutely right. Yes,
Extraordinary.
I had to look at it twice, to be honest with you.
I know.
That's amazing.
It's, yeah. So the gentleman passed away a year ago, but because of the pandemic, things didn't get settled until recently. Harold Doherty, and he lived on Chestnut Street. And he's obviously a fan of the library. So, and a fan of the trustees, because nobody gives a kind of gift like that without feeling that they're investing in a quality place that's well managed. So I was a little choked up. It was a friend of the library, actually, who was the trustee of the estate, and he brought it in and to me today.
Wow.
So it's yeah,
That's,
very wonderful.
yeah, I was just shocked. This is, what a beautiful, generous gift.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, when
I
everyone
read
has
his obituary, and I was trying to see if I could place him, but I couldn't. I couldn't place him for any reason. I just, but just a tremendous gift. Tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
going
it's
to add, when you have a chance to read the obituary, if you haven't yet, it's really quite a life he seemed to lead. Really seemed like a fantastic person. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Captain, was
So-
the bequest unrestricted?
Yes.
Yes. So it's even better.
right.
It's an unrestricted gift. It's unbelievable.
Hmm.
And
I think the fact
So-
we don't know who he was, or we didn't really, is a testament to the library that how many people they reach out to, that they don't know what impact you make on people, and of all ages and for all reasons. That it is amazing.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
the library is fantastic, I'm not surprised, because that's what they do.
well, I wish I got to know him. Just because he seemed, he must have had a great love for the library. I would have loved to have met him.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, so I'm sure we have Catherine, a thank you note going out to
Yeah.
there is surviving family. So
Yeah, I'll be getting some more information, and it's all, I only just heard today, so there's paperwork and procedures and everything, so I'll get everything in order. And
Okay.
yes, we'll send something to family.
Well, 3 cheers to Mr. Doherty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for sending out the obituary with that, Catherine. That's good. It was nice to read and look at and put a face.
Yeah,
Harold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything on legislative advocacy?
I'll just say I attended, this might not be appropriate under advocacy, but I attended the MBLC virtual trustee orientation last night.
Oh, okay.
They did cover advocacy as part of the many things that they covered. I would say for anybody who hasn't attended that yet or needs a refresher, I think they have a version of it recorded or slides on their website. I thought it was really helpful to hear from the state folks directly. Being in these meetings, I have a sense of what's happening, but it's always good to kind of hear it from them. And they, I mentioned this in the advocacy part because they also were talking about the importance of, advocating on behalf of the library, but also advocating in terms of storytelling, not just saying, I love the library, that's why it's important, but the impact that the library has on the community from a range of programs and really making the connection with that between story hour and, early reading intervention and things like that, and workforce development that services that the library provides. So I thought it was a really well done training. So I recommend that for others.
Okay, thank you. Anything on personnel, Catherine, or anything? I know there's nothing from personnel committee, but
no, next month I'll give you the evaluations.
okay,
And that whole process is January to March, but I'll give it to you in December so that you have time to, if there's anything about it, you'll have time to question it by January.
okay. Yeah, and I did notice in the staff, in one of the reports, I think it was yours, Catherine, that there's no vacancies at the library now. All the positions are filled.
Yay,
Okay,
yeah,
very good. So all the
Yeah.
dominoes have fallen. Okay,
hopefully,
all
hopefully.
right. Well, it'll probably change next month, so.
Let's hope we're good for a while. There are, like everybody else, I mean, it's the Great Resignation. I've never seen so many library openings ever.
Really?
Oh my gosh, directors everywhere. Just people are moving around, they're retiring, it's all over the place. So it's very interesting.
Okay, all right, on to new business. So first thing we gotta do is go over the fidelity agreement. Catherine, I'm assuming we just gotta look at this, and do we all have to, we must have to vote to sign this, and is it
Yeah.
my signature or is it everybody's signature?
Yeah, well, hey, I think if you vote for one person to sign it, that will be enough because Rick is happy to keep the minutes with it all. So what I included for you was the letter that he gave me about what he needs a signature on. And this goes back to the policy that you have in place for how you can invest your funds. And when these were originally invested with First Financial, the policy statement was in the little booklet with all of the investments. And I gave you a copy of that as well. So what he has for you to sign is based on staying the course with that original investment plan. And if you wanted to make changes, now would be the time to do that. I think the reason they wanted to do this now is because they knew there had been some turnover in the board. So they just wanted everybody to be on the same page and know that they were, still following the current strategy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, each of those changes seem like they're consistent with our current stance, our current policy, our current request. Is that correct?
Yes, so there are no changes, and he's not proposing any changes. He's proposing staying with the moderate growth that you had agreed to, I think it was in 2016.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a quick clarifying question, just as a handwritten note, where you have the division of the asset class, minimum, target, maximum. I just want to confirm 56% is where we're at for equities. Is that right? Where minimum is 40, targets. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to check that that's.
But actually, that current 56% was something Sharon wrote in 2016. So that's what it was. And as I looked at that, I thought, oh, I should have had the current. I can get you the current.
Right.
That we get that every month. So I can give you that current, but we know that it's within the minimum and maximum.
Cool. I think that's fine.
So any other comments on this agreement? I think what we'll have to do is take a vote and to have the chair sign. Does anybody want to make any changes to this? Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, if we're happy with the way it's been going and want to stay the course, I'll make a motion that that you, Tim, should sign off for us.
I'll second that.
Okay, that was a second from Chris. All right, here's the vote. Chris,
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So, all right, I'll make arrangements for you, Catherine. You can just let me know when you have it together, and then I'll be glad to come in. Do that.
Anytime you come in, they'll be right on the black cabinet there.
Okay. So, I mean, it'll be ready like tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all set to go.
All right. All right, I'll probably stop in before the weekend.
Okay.
Okay. So next on the item is the policy update. So we have two policies that have been sent to us. The one is the one we discussed last month, the standards of conduct. And then we've got the policy for patrons in need of social and protective services. So why don't we take up the first one, the conduct. Just a reminder to everybody that when we discussed this last meeting, it was kind of born out of somebody who either asked or we were made known that somebody had a concealed weapon in the library.
It was a question about it. He asked.
Yeah.
Somebody asked about it. Okay. So just as a refresher, we talked about this, and then it was actually a good time to kind of look at this whole thing and maybe bring it up to date and use some language that is more flexible than the previous policy was. So, we have some discussion on this particular, the draft that's before us.
I noticed that there was a note in there about all forms of smoking are prohibited. Maybe I missed, but do we need to expand that at all to other forms of like
Vaping or stuff like that?
Yeah, or other drugs? I don't know. Is that indicated anywhere?
Wouldn't it be implied that any illegal activity would be also illegal in the library?
Some things aren't illegal. Like
Yeah, it's not necessarily illegal.
edibles.
So
Well, it's
Yeah,
actually
we
illegal to
covered
smoke.
smoking, right? So what, I
Right.
mean,
But it may make sense to say smoking or vaping, right? Because you can vape marijuana, right? So if
You can
we're,
vape anything, but you
Right,
still
yeah.
can't do it in the library.
Isn't that,
right.
would you call it a form of smoking?
So
Is vaping a form of smoking?
I don't know.
no, so the term smoking wouldn't be inclusive of vaping. I mean, you can apply the policy however you want, but if somebody wanted to get, the term smoking wouldn't be inclusive of vaping. if that makes sense.
Okay, so when I wrote all forms of smoking are prohibited, my thought process was that it encompassed everything that is smoking, and I was thinking vaping, and any like new form that we haven't even thought of yet that could come up. So I want to actually include vaping. So all forms of smoking / vaping are prohibited.
Let's say electronic. Let me, yeah. I'm just gonna ask somebody who knows what the wording they use in for like the schools and things like that.
Okay, and then you want to send me that?
Um,
And maybe
The-
even that would be helpful to see like kind of what the schools have. That would be a good benchmark. And maybe even just writing it in a way that it's not like restricting us to whatever, to the thing that we're not thinking about from 3 years from now. So like all forms of smoking and vaping, or all forms of
Any
smoking,
kind of electronic cigarette or any kind of, yeah.
including but not limited to vaping or, anyway.
Including but not limited to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't know what the thing's gonna be 3 years from now.
exactly.
We have enough. I don't think we need to have any new things come along.
I know.
I thought
Catherine-
vaping was illegal. I didn't realize it was legal again. Didn't all the vape stores shut down on Albion Street?
We did.
So is it legal?
So there's
They had
certain
various,
zones-
they had various issues as to why they went out of business on Albion Street.
They
One
do
being
sell those things.
a town bylaw. And the other, I think the company just went out of business and it wasn't a vape shop per se. It was more of a paraphernalia shop.
But vaping is legal.
So vaping is controlled like the same way that tobacco use would be. So depending on each town, there's different rules for like, it has to be an over 21 shop to sell it and things like that, but it's not illegal, no.
Yeah, thanks. Good to
But
know.
it is regulated. It hadn't been regulated initially.
On that same thing, it does say, I don't know if you want to stress this, Catherine, but that smoking is prohibited, obviously, in the library, but it's also permitted, it's not permitted on the grounds of the library. And also, also request people to not be near entrances? I mean, I don't want to get too specific, but
Yeah,
generally,
that's a town bylaw, maybe. The town doesn't allow smoking within so many feet of a municipal building.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's great. I didn't know, I was unaware of that, so.
Yeah, and this policy says that it applies, behavior standards apply on the premise, including the grounds.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, we haven't allowed smoking near the doors in a really long time. There's not even any ashtrays anymore.
Yeah, no, I gotta admit, it's been a long time that I've ever had to, you walk by people that are smoking near a door and it kind of sticks out to you,
Yeah.
so. Okay.
Jeff, did you say there was something on there that said like all illegal activity? Am I just missing the word illegal on there?
No, I don't think it's on there. I just don't want to go down the path of listing every illegal thing as being prohibited in the library. Like, don't do heroin in the library. Like that's good policy, but it's also illegal to do that in the first place. That's
Right.
all I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. So like the smoking is not illegal, but it's not allowed in
Right,
library.
and
That's fair.
you're right. And the vaping, I wasn't aware that that wasn't covered by smoking. So that, this is good discussion all around.
Yeah. Yeah, you can add vaping, but leave off heroin and, et cetera.
Great.
Okay. Well, my only comment is it seems generic enough that you can use it if you need to be. So
It's gone through the staff. And that's why you got 2 copies, because there were several people who were on the fence about whether or not we wanted to include the shoes and shirt thing.
okay.
We wanted to talk about clothing, and most of the staff fell on the side of yes, they wanted to include those basic things in writing would be helpful for them. Yes, you have to wear shoes.
Okay.
And so you've seen many of these things over time. Is there anything that, like, why now are we updating it, or it was just time? The reason that we.
I think it was time. The old policy made reference to boom boxes and things that were a little too specific without being, rather than naming I'd rather go with the behavior that's the problem.
Right.
As general as possible, so that people understand, all of the librarians have the authority to determine what is dangerous and disruptive.
Yeah. Well,
So I don't want to argue with someone over whether or not running is dangerous or disruptive. It is.
I think this is a good idea to update it, because if you haven't been in a library in a long time, libraries aren't the same. So like they encourage, you encourage conversation. Kids go there to do their homework together. People do have conversations in certain areas, when library was like, you don't talk to anyone. So I think that's good, because I think it updates it to how the library is used more now. So I was just wondering. Thank you.
You're welcome. It doesn't, we cleaned up the food and beverages too. That was quite a conversation to get that to a point where it was reasonable.
Has that been out of control at times?
So we settled on securely covered, neat food consumption, and we limit it to areas where it can't damage the furnishings or the equipment. So however that changes over time, you'd like to say it's common sense that you can't eat Chinese food there. But sometimes it's not. So this is broad enough that I'm hoping it covers a long period of time.
Yep.
And a lot of different.
After I heard back, so it's no smoking or vapor products.
Oh, products. So does that include
So
chewing
no
tobacco?
smoking or vapor products is what they say.
Vapor, okay.
That's good. I like it.
Okay. So I'll add that instead.
Good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people in the early days that were arguing against smoking bans places because it didn't specifically say e-cigarettes and there's no smoke. So they had to change all the language and everything. So
I see.
I'm sure you haven't had that argument yet, but you don't want, somebody holding the policy up to you and saying, well, it doesn't say vape on it. So
Right.
Oh, we've had people vape in the building and had to say, no, that's smoking. You can't do that. That was quite a while ago. But it did come up early on.
All right, anything else on this particular policy? Okay, let's take a vote to amend the policy as noted. Somebody make a motion.
Take a motion to approve the policy as amended.
Got a second?
Second.
Okay, Amy seconded. All right, vote is Chris,
Yeah, aye.
Adam,
aye.
okay, Susan,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
the second policy we have before us for modification is the patrons in need of social and protective services. And the last time this was looked at was 2017. Is that, no, 2018?
2013,
Oh, 13. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. The only question I have on this, Catherine, was, I'm sure you've consulted with the police department on contacting the resource officer.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's what they said, just let's go that
Right.
direction.
Yes, I called her specifically and talked to her about it because it had to do with truancy. And
Right,
yeah, truancy is no longer a thing. So we worked on this together and so, each age group is covered. And a young child is one situation, but the school age child, very often they're homeschooled, there's lots of reasons for them to be in the library and it's usually not a problem. And the school resource officers know so many of the families and they also have a family resource officer. So they know so many people, and if they don't, they're trained to work with this population. And she said, oh yeah, in a minute they would come and take care of things. So that's the best option for the librarians. If they see someone and they think there might be an issue, they would contact the
okay,
police department or the resource officer directly.
okay, well, I know the resource officer is based at the high school, so,
And there's one at the middle school.
is there not one at the middle school also?
Is there still one at the high school or did he?
There's 3 in town. There's one at the Voc, one at the high school, and one at the middle school.
They're still all there. Okay, yeah. They used to go to meetings. I don't know which ones. It was either Wave or Wake Up. It might have been both. So I know all 3 of them. I've spoken with all 3 of them. But it's Kelly Tobine at the middle school. And she's in the library a lot and she's very well known with all the children. So she's a great resource for us.
And that extends, Catherine, just outside of school hours. That was the one, just to pile on to Tim's question, the one thing that I noticed too was the removal of going through that process during school hours. And that is not the proposed future process. So just clarifying that piece.
Right. It doesn't matter when it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be school hours. It's just in the event that the librarian suspects there's a problem.
Cool. Thank you.
Was there a precipitating event that drove you to take a look at this policy? I'm in favor of the wording. I'm just curious on the background here.
The last sentence makes reference to a disruptive patron policy, and there is none that exists. The closest thing we had was the standards of behavior. So because they were related, I was looking at them both
Okay.
together and saw
Yep.
the truancy and had the sense that truancy isn't a thing anymore. And then I had that verified, it's not.
Sure, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all right, well, we need somebody to make a motion to approve the policy as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve it as amended.
You got a second?
Second.
Okay, Laura, second it. Okay, Chris,
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, the last thing on the agenda is the of the FY23 budget. And I guess, Catherine, can you just kind of lay out the time frame of this process for everybody? So
I'm
particularly
not,
people that are new.
yeah,
Do you-
I'm not exactly sure what the process is going to be. At some point, I'll get in touch with Steve Mayo, the town manager, and Kevin Gill, who's the town accountant. And I'll run numbers by them, so they'll guide me into where I should be. And then we'll review things. I'll talk with them. For as long as I've done this, there hasn't been an issue, because we've had plenty of funding. And so it's all, so it's been relatively routine. Now, this is the first year that I've only started this budget, and what I wanted you to see was that the total change is 2.8%. And that is awesome, because I've included things that I know are gonna be more expensive next year. We're losing there is some funding that we get for IT capital for software. And Todd Bowden, who manages that, has told us that software really shouldn't be in that. It should just be the hardware. So I've got to put the software in the budget. And of course, the last couple of years, we're doing a lot more with software. So we're trying to, look at what those costs might be. Adding Zoom in, we never had Zoom before. Now that's going to be a cost every year, all of those things. So, I think it's interesting that in a budget like this too, something goes up $1,600 and it's 9.3%, like the percent seems like it's a really big increase. But it's not a lot of money. So far it doesn't look like we're going to have any problems. It may end up a little higher. I haven't finished looking at all the things that Dave, for instance, has some, he's looking at costs and getting some information. Things are aging. So the kind of thing that happened with the alarm system, that's going to be a few $1,000s. And this is a relatively small budget to have a few $1,000s that are unexpected. So if we have enough money, if you have one thing like that every year, but if we had multiple failures, it could be a larger problem. So I just want to make sure that and I know, we've given back money every year, but most of the money we give back is in personal services. And that can't be spent in the three columns that are here: personal services, contractual services, and material and supply. Those three are individual categories where you can't shift the money from one to the other. Within those categories, we can shift. So the other thing I'm concerned about is utilities, but we have been making a lot of improvements to save on utilities. So we've had a lot of extra money building up every year. So I think the utilities, even if the fees go up, we might end up okay, because we've been cutting back and trading out all the light bulbs for LEDs and doing those kinds of things that we could do all along. I don't know if that's going to help. We have gas heat. I don't know if that's going to help with that, but we will do our best to see. So I think that's all about that. And I'll have more. I should have a final budget by next month. And I don't know exactly when I'll talk with Steve and Kevin. That's up to them. I don't know what their schedule is. And then capital budget is going to be totally separate. That I do with Joe Conway, who's the DPW director. That's going to be a little hairier because we have lots of capital needs coming up, and they have backed up from a year that was not funded. We had funding for carpeting, and then they didn't do any capital that year. So and then the following year, I didn't get the carpeting. So this year I have $10,000 to look at the front steps, but there's nothing for carpeting. And so the carpet's getting worse. There's no backing on the first floor. The first floor, they won't even clean it anymore. So that's getting kind of serious. And we've got roof issues, and we've got some masonry issues. We've got some big ticket items coming in capital. But I think the operating budget is looking pretty good. So that's all I have for that this month, and then next month I'll have more details.
Catherine, the 2.8% increase, that's inclusive of the contracts
Settlement.
changes.
Yes,
Okay, good.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it's inclusive of your projected Sunday hours?
yes.
Okay,
So the number requested in personal services for FY '23 was built off FY '22 with the November approvals. So that's the new contract rates and Sundays. And I
Okay.
think part of the reason that we ended up at 3.1% is probably turnover, because Jeff retired, so Jeff would have been the person budgeted for last year. But this year it's Karen, and she's newer. So we've had a little turnover that helps
yeah,
keep that a little lower.
okay. Well, at the risk of dating myself, folks, as I was looking at this budget, I remember when we broke the $1 million budget mark. And
Yeah,
it seems like it was just recently, but I know it wasn't. But I just kind of made a mental note of that, saying, oh my God, I remember when we went over $1 million in an operating budget. So
yeah.
I am dating myself, so that's good news about the increase, though. I personally think that that should be well within range. So any other comments about this? So Catherine, am I understanding here that next, you think in December meeting, you're going to be looking for a vote to go forward with the budget?
It's possible,
All
but
right,
that's only if I've seen Steve and Kevin, or at least had an email from them. Sometimes I can just send it to them and they just send me a message back. So
Okay.
I'm thinking if they have time and they get it in, then yes, by December's meeting, we should be able to vote on it. And if not, we'll just, we can do it in January, but that will be dependent on what the town needs are.
okay. I'm sorry, I think I might have interrupted somebody. Is there another comment?
I was just going to ask about increased inflation and whether that's baked into the materials lines that we have on here already, or if that's something that's done later.
Inflation on materials.
Right.
I've taken that into consideration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in the
does-
news a lot. So it's
Yeah, it doesn't show up in books and publications because there are other places where we also pay materials from, through Noble. So, and the Noble line item is increased, and that's pretty much all materials. That's databases. The databases will go up.
okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, we don't need a vote on this. This is just information.
Right.
At this point, we don't need to give Catherine anything right now. Is there anything that unexpected that we need to talk about? I don't have anything.
I have one question I wanted to ask Catherine. Based on last month's meeting, how's the mask thing going?
Good
Wearing the
question.
masks. I was wondering how that was proceeding.
It seems like, did I get the message out to everyone that it stayed as the towns?
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie, have you seen anything? I really have kind of been relieved and just not thinking about it anymore.
We've seen people without them. We just don't fight it anymore. It's not stopped. We've just sort of stopped worrying about it, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen circulation staff, come with masks and give them to people. And the
Oh, they're
people,
still, they're
and-
still offering, but we're not fighting people who are.
yeah, and the
not doing
people,
it.
the people will accept them. They don't say
Mhm.
anything, but they don't always wear them.
So you think it's
Um,
better or worse, about the same,
It's about the same.
same?
Yeah.
So you're not enforcing the trespass at all, you're just not
We
fighting.
we really can't. I mean,
Yeah, when I ran it through legal, there's not an easy way. There's not a way to do it that it doesn't discriminate in one way or another. So
Ah,
you kind of just have to rely on the honor system, which is clearly visible.
Have we, I forget whether Laura or Amy recommended making an announcement occasionally.
Yes, it was Amy, and I had suggested that. I don't think that anyone has done that yet. What I do know is that when we have a program, they do like baby story times, or I think there was a book group that was held. When they do programs, it's required. So you can't come to a program we know the size of the room, we know how many people are there. There's no one in those situations who is not masked.
So it's mostly the people that come in either to pick something up or they're browsing. That's,
Yeah. And
the
so
breakdown.
you can, for the most part, you can get away from them, we're all masked. I mean, everybody who's masked is relatively protected.
okay.
There are a lot of breakthrough cases. There is that. So we have our eye on it.
Okay. All right, and if there's nothing else, folks, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is somebody second it?
Seconded.
Okay, well, before we take the vote, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all enjoy good family and friends, and hopefully this is a more normal Thanksgiving than we had last year. I know it's gonna be for me, so, which is good. So just everybody enjoy yourself, so. Chris,
All in favor, I'm in favor.
okay, Adam? Susan?
Yes, and 1 minute to spare.
Oh, that's true. Jeff,
I,
Scott,
Aye, and happy Thanksgiving.
Amy,
Aye.
and Laura?
Hi, thanks for the quick meeting.
No. I ran on that agenda. We'll have quick meetings. And I'm an aye, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Good
happy
night.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Good
happy
night.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.